My name is Scott Brown. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, born and raised. It was about 1990, 91. It was Halloween evening when me and my two friends decided we were gonna be tough guys and go enter the scariest place in Tallahassee, Florida. At the time, it was called Sunnyland. It was a mental institution and a hospital for kids with those kind of problems. What we decided is we were going to go and do not a paranormal investigation, but just to see if there really was a spirits, whatever have you. Me, Eric, and Eddie decided to meet in our vehicles there at Sunnyland, and we parked out front, and we seen everything was boarded up, so we went around back to see if we can find entrance into it. It was 3:30 a.m., pitch dark. We were only using lighters to strike when we wanted to see the way. Each one of us, carried a little weapon, a pocket knife or whatever, just for security. We got to the back and we seen the only opening was on the second floor. So we had to climb up on the second floor using a board to gain entrance into the building. And we had to pull a piece of plywood back and slip inside the second floor. And once we did, we were in the stairwell of the building. We all three were nervous. We were, saying things to each other. Come on, man, go in. Egging it on and getting with it. So none of us really believed. So we went on in, started going down the stairway on the second floor. And the second floor was like a long corridor with about 10 rooms on the right side, hospital rooms, and all the doors to the rooms were open all the way down the hallway. Now we could see because on that particular floor there was 2 windows that weren't boarded up, and it was full moon that night, and so it lit up pretty good in the hallways. We didn't have to strike our lighters too much. As soon as we looked down to go down the hallway, we hit a string that had been set up through the hallway with cans on it. And when you bump it, because you can't see it dark, it makes a loud noise to alert who's ever a homeless person or whatever sleeping in there can know that you're in the building. And they can get away, hopefully, without getting caught. So we knew we were going to see things like that. It was messy. There was books everywhere. It was stuff thrown, tore up, windows cracked, boards broken, glass. So we proceeded down the hallway. When we went to the first room and looked to the right, there was a old TV, Zenith TV, mounted on the ceiling, but it was the big old fat TVs, before they became the little skinny ones. And we noticed that, and we knew there wasn't any power in the building. This building had been shut down forever. The power to the TV, if you've ever seen a black light when they used to cut TV off at 12 o'clock at night and it would go black and the screen would come up, the TV was playing that screen. We walked to the TV, tried to turn it off. There was no wires plugged in the wall, and it was playing while we were standing there. Well, me and Eric and Eddie said, hey, that's got to be like the cops got cameras in here watching us, and maybe it's hooked to that. There's an explanation for it and the reason it's going, This ain't ghost. So we proceeded down the hallway, and as we're going down the hallway, we're inspecting, making sure nobody's jumping up on us. We're all scared. We're egging each other on to do this. The last door at the very end of the hallway was closed. So Eric was like, hey man, I bet there's somebody in there. They ran in there and closed the door when they heard the cans wiggle. So we all ran down to the room real quick and snatched the door open and looked inside. I shit you not, to this day, it's unexplained how this happened. There were handprints going up the wall in the room, and they were little kid handprints. They were blood red, but they were glowing in the dark. The handprints on the wall were glowing red. We were all confused, perplexed, didn't know what was going on. Then we started hearing children laughing, just like little kids playing on the playground. We couldn't explain it. We're looking around, nobody there, and it sounded like the kids were running across past us because you could feel their presence go by, and you would hear their voices laugh at us, like they were playing a game with us. And so we started freaking out. Let's go down to 1. We ran down the stairwell to 1. We started going down that hall. Every hall in there, every door was open. No handprints, only that one room. We get down there, we're not hearing any noises. We go into the 3rd room and somebody's got a big mural painted up on the wall, and it's of the Grim Reaper. I mean, it was a good spray painting on the wall. We were admiring it, like, darn, they did good work in here. And we were all scared, and out of the blue again, the kids' voices popped up. They're giggling, playing around us in different spots, but nobody's there. So we got enough of that, and we moved to down the next hallway, went into the cafeteria. Well, the cafeteria was blocked off with a bunch of chairs, like stacked chairs in front of us. And so instead of pushing them out of the way and moving them, we said, let's go back downstairs or back down the hallway and see if there's any place else to go. So we went all the way back where we came from. We're still getting signs of noises here and there off in the distance. When we got to the 1st floor, we turned around and realized there's a little office right there with a closed door. Let's see what's in there. So we went to that door and we opened the door, and stairs went down. And we were like, whoa, there must be a basement in this place. I was like, wow. So we proceeded down in the basement. And this is where it got really weird. Because when you get to the basement, it was concrete floors. It had like an infirmary, or where they cremate bodies at, where you pull it out and put them in. Incinerator, or whatever you want to call it. And there was also an operating room with a steel table. The steel table had lips on it like that, stainless steel, so the blood wouldn't flow over the side, because it had a drain in the center of the table going all the way down to the floor, draining. So when they cut someone or they were bleeding, the excess blood would go down to the drain. And that really freaked us out. We were like, oh crap, there's no telling what they were doing in this building. And so we came back out of there, and by this point we're so freaked out we don't want to go back down the 2nd floor we went because of the children voices. So they said, let's go up the 3rd floor. Went up the 3rd floor, went down it. When we got to the 3rd floor, out of the stairwell, there was a homeless or vagrant sleeping in there. He yelled, ran at us, and then turned and ran up the stairs to get out. He was running from us, I guess. That particular floor, this was in October. It doesn't really get that hot. But this particular floor was so hot we were sweating. It was like 90, 100 degrees, and it wasn't even that temperature outside. So we were all discussing, do you feel that? Yeah, I feel that. This is really weird. And then a lady's voice let out a blood-curdling scream. But there was nobody in that room but us. We could see the hallways, the doors. It freaked us out, so we ran all the way down back to the cafeteria and pushed the chairs out of the way, trying to get out of the exit door to get out of the building. Once we got the chairs pushed down, it was the cafeteria, and they had food trays stacked. The plastic food trays, big and heavy, stacked, probably about this high in the hallway, trying to keep you from getting on into the cafeteria. Well, There was an unseen force. All I can explain it, it was like somebody pushed as hard as they could those trays, because the trays flew across the room and one of them hit Eric in the shoulder. Man, like teenagers and little kids, I know we were grown men, but we were terrified. And I didn't believe, but at that point, when that tray flew across the room with nobody standing there at us and hit my friend Eric, I knew we shouldn't have been in there. We took off running as fast as we could. We were tripping on stuff that was in the floor. We were knocking into each other trying to get out the door. We ran up to the second floor and shot back out of the board that we had come in and entered at. And there stood the TPD. He pulled us to the side, gave us a talk, told us a joke, sent us home. But after that, I'm just not the same anymore. I know that spirits are real. It's unexplainable, but they're there. And I've never been the same. Started wearing my cross, got religious, and I've changed and never went back to that.